Hey guys, I'm just getting on to say hi, first off, but also, I know I haven't been getting on here and posting very frequently, and for that I'm sorry. I have had a lot going on in my life in the last couple of months, and I've just been dealing with things that keep coming up. Not in a bad way, even, but I wanted to let you guys know that, and to also let you guys know that I'm grateful to each and every one of you who supports and watches what I post. Anyway, I thought I'd do a journal entry today. This would be number 5, and the title is, Do You Experience Hypervigilance and Why Due to Your Trauma? And I am going to say that for me, in some scenarios, depending on what is happening around me and what the situation is, I do not experience hypervigilance. But then again, depending on what is going on around me and what the situation is, I will. I have at different times had to deal with a lot of that. Having to deal with PTSD from some of my different trauma, that definitely will come up for me. I'm getting better in being able to be mindfully aware of some of that before I end up in situations where that happens to trigger. As I'm going through the process of all of the different classes and groups and the therapy sessions that I'm going through, I am able to work through a lot of that, and I'm able to control the outcome if it does occur. And so it doesn't end up being so bad. Before I ended up starting to deal with my mental health on any kind of serious basis, or really any kind of way at all, I would say that that would happen quite frequently, and I would end up getting into situations where I ended up becoming kind of a danger to myself and sometimes to others, in the way that I ended up kind of going into my own head, and I would end up having to have somebody else pull me out, because I would sit there and I would have flashes of things happening, and that's not good at all. Because that really created... Hold on, the plane is going overhead. Anyway, that really caused me to just kind of stop being there in the moment, where I was focused wholly on something playing out in my head, as opposed to what was happening around me in the moment. And that became really unsafe. And I've been driving and had that happen, or walking down the street, where my fiance would have to pull me out of the road because I would get so overwhelmed that I wouldn't really recognize what was happening. And so once I did start dealing with my mental health and had to work on mindfulness and challenging my thoughts and what was really happening in the moment, and if I was actually in danger or not, that kind of started to rectify itself in some ways. I'm not saying that it's necessarily gone away, because it hasn't. Sometimes I still get triggered, and it depends on what is happening at the time that I'm triggered. If I'm already in an emotional state and something happens to trigger me that will bring those feelings up, then it's more likely that I'm going to have a harder time working through that. But otherwise, I would say not as much. And I'm going with that solely due to the work that I myself have put in, and the time that I have put in to trying to come to terms with a lot of those situations, and working with building up my ability to cope with situations, because I realized that you can go through the greatest tragedy that you've ever been through, and it can definitely take you down. Or you can go through the greatest tragedy that you've ever been through, and you can come out the other end stronger than you've ever been. And I was tired of the world breaking me and allowing myself to be broken. And I didn't want to be broken anymore. And that I was the only one that was going to change that for myself. That nobody else could do that for me. And so I had to take control of my life and build up what I could so that I could be able to be strong enough to deal with whatever life happened to be throwing at me this day. Because I'm not naive enough to believe that after 41 years of life, of crazy things happening just one after another, that they're ever going to stop. I'm not saying that they couldn't. I mean, we all know that that absolutely could happen. But will it? That's yet to be seen. So I'm going with probably not. But if I choose to deal with it in a way that is going to maintain trauma for me, if I am going to deal with situations and allow them to continue building trauma for me, as opposed to me taking control of my situations and working through them, then it's never going to change. And I don't want to continue living in this crazy cycle of repeated trauma. And I'm not saying that life isn't going to throw me curveballs, because they're still coming. As I said, I believe wholeheartedly that after 41 years of having crazy come at me at all, junctures of my life, that it's just going to keep coming. But how I choose to deal with the situation, how I choose to react to what is happening, that's all that's going to matter in the long run. Because if I choose to believe that everything is the end of the world, if I look at everything as if it is going to break me, then I will always be broken. And I refuse to live my life as a shell of a person that I could have been. I am the phoenix rising from the ashes of my crazy life. Me, myself, and I alone get to decide what my life means to me. And I alone get to choose whether I sit here and dwell on any of it. And I'm learning that that's not my life's path. And I don't want to live there anymore. I know for myself that being broken, it's not a badge of honor. Sitting here and trying to figure out what to do with the whirlwind that is handed to you. You don't choose the life that's handed to you, but you do choose the way you're going to handle it. And I just realized that I had been allowing the world to dictate how I felt about any of it. I believe for myself that I am stronger than that. I didn't believe that before, but I do now. I recognize my own strength, and I am amazing for my resilience. And I'm not saying that traumatic shit doesn't happen and that you shouldn't feel some way about it, but don't live there. Don't stay there. Don't just dwell on that. It's okay to sit there for a little while and try to figure out what the heck is going on. But what I've realized is it isn't okay to just stagnate, because you're never going to grow if you never move past that. And for me, and I can only speak for me because I'm only myself and I have control over nobody but myself, something else that I have to learn and remind myself. You choose to do what you choose to do, and some things are hard. And some things you may need help with, and you will never accomplish them by yourself. But that doesn't mean that you can't accomplish them. Find a way. Find the people. Find the support that it takes to be able to pull yourself up, because you're never going to get past it if you don't work through it. Anyway, random thoughts from my head and journal entry number 5. Thank you for watching. If you find anything that I am doing or saying valuable, and you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I would like to hear from you guys. I enjoy learning, and I'm sure that you guys have something to teach me. But either way, I hope you keep watching. I love you all, and I hope that you have a lovely day. Till next time. Bye.